Norland has come a long way since early access began in July of 2024. Since then, the game has evolved massively. We're still awaiting some of the biggest changes the developers have promised, such as seasons and village development. Things are looking promising though, and 2026 could be a huge year for Norland. With that said, one of the most common types of comment I receive on this channel is for a guide to all of the mechanics of the game, since most guides are outdated. So in this video, I'll be slowing down my gameplay and giving the deepest possible look into how I go about surviving a hardcore playthrough in the latest version of the game. Hopefully, this will give you your best odds of surviving anything the game might try to throw at you, even if you play on a lower difficulty. For this series, we'll be playing with patch 46, which is the latest build in the beta branch. It contains some big changes, such as local map generation, political tweaks, and more that we'll be covering in detail when the patch is pushed to the main branch. I'll probably keep this series going for at least the first 30 days or so, but let me know in the comments how long into a series you get before getting stuck stops being a concern. So without further ado, this is how to survive hardcore mode in Norland in 2026. Okay, so I don't have a lot of experience making guides or anything like that, but what we are basically going to be doing is basically starting out a game, and I will just explain to you guys what it is that I am thinking when I make decisions and things like that. So let's start here with hitting the new game, and as you can see, we now start directly on the map, getting to see every single province that you can actually start out in. And the way that this basically works now is they have sectioned off each culture to be in their own region. So as you can see, this is the Cadans, the Taneas up here in the north, the Varns in the east, and the Macaw here in the south. So whichever culture you want to start playing with, you should try to pick the region that they're from. And the simple reason for this is because you will find it a little bit easier to actually take control of territories in your region, in your cultural region. So you want to start out, say we wanted to go with Varns, which is what we're going to be doing. You would want to go for a Varn city to start with, so that you can take over that region and then you can move on to the next region. And luckily for you as well, you start out with, say, the Varns, and the Caden are the ones that hate you the most. They're all the way in the other side of the world, which makes them the final boss, so to speak. So we're going to go ahead and go for something somewhat easier. We are going to be playing a hardcore series, but I want to be kind of in the middle here so that we can have a lot of trade partners and things like that. So Gorno seems like the perfect fit for us. We're not going to worry about our banner or anything like that, but as you can see here, we have a decent amount of lumber, a decent amount of these new bloodberries, which I don't really understand this, but they apparently don't like the taste of them, which seems a little weird because, at least from what I know in medieval times, the peasants would kind of have to live on essentially meat, but not high quality or anything like that. And then things like grapes and things like these were usually considered for the nobles, but I guess because these berries cause diarrhea, that's something they don't actually like, of course, and they also don't really like the taste for some reason. Either way, they are an option if you do not want to spend a lot of time farming rye. But either way, we do not have a lot of iron, which is probably going to be the one issue here. And that's just going to be kind of more of a mid to late game issue anyways. Then we will also have a good amount of herbs, which is going to be good because we can create medical cells out of that, and even some ale. This will be another kind of mid to late game thing though. And then we have hops and rye, and from what I know, they now have designated spots for these, but we will go ahead and see that soon. So as far as our villages, I personally think that you should try to take rye in pretty much every single one of these, because at some point you are going to want to create flour, and you're going to want to create your flour very quickly. So basically your first village should be something kind of early game focused. And even when you stock up a lot of rye and flour, you can sell it at the trader, or like I said, you can kind of make trade routes or something like that. So having a lot of rye is basically never a problem. With your second village, you can pick something that is going to be for your later game. You could do something like herbs so that you can create a lot of medical cells like I was talking about before. I think in this one we're going to go for the iron, because if we make it that far, we will want to create some kind of weaponry, so we are going to want to have the iron ready, and we're not going to have a lot of integrated iron in our actual city, so we'll go ahead and go with that. And We're going to hit next now. So now we end up at our family settings, and there are a couple of options here. Typically, the first one is actually probably going to be the best, and we're probably going to stick with that. However, if you wanted to go with something a little bit different, maybe something like fathers and daughters, because your daughters could eventually be basically married off to neighboring rulers, and you could make a little bit of money off of that. So if you get stuck, this could be a good option, just kind of as a failsafe in case you start having a lot of problems with money. But we will be going with the three brothers and a wife. And we're not going to change anything here, really. We're just going to kind of go with what the game picks for us. It looks like they picked mental impairment on our wife, gambling addiction on one of our brothers, nervous on another one. This is all pretty much fine. I think I might go ahead and re-roll our ruler. We want something. We don't really want him to have persuasion, so we'll just take that off, I suppose, and we'll give him something like command. One good reason to have your king as a commander is just simply because winning battles and things like that will help you drum up support, and you will probably at some point start having issues with politicians, so having your king be the commander is actually not a half bad idea. But I mean, it's not necessarily a killer. It's just, if you were to say have one of your brothers be the commander and then he's winning a bunch of battles and stuff, he may start to have a lot of loyalty to him, and that could make it pretty easy for him to revolt against you. It's not the worst thing, but like I said, if you want more stability, it could be better to have your king be the commander directly. It'll just help him keep everybody happy. We're just going to go with pretty much exactly what they have. Otherwise, we do have a commander or a manager in here. And we do have our wife is pretty intelligent. Yeah, that all looks pretty good. But if you wanted to min-max all of this, I would probably have my wife be the trader and smart. And then I would have like one of my brothers be a good manager. And I would have another one as, you know, just kind of a spare, maybe something like combat or also good at command. But that is up to you. Either way, we're just going to go with what the game basically picked for us. We're going to hit hardcore on here. And we're not going to do anything with scenario. However, we are going to tick off ragged ones, and I recommend doing this because I really think that the ragged ones were not the best addition, and they kind of just make everything annoying for a newer player. We'll also hit excess iron. This gives us a little bit more mineable iron in our actual mines in our city, which will be pretty good. And I don't think we're going to go with anything else except for, we're going to go for, is this one? Yes. So strength in numbers will be kind of nice because peasants and prisoners will have a higher combat skill. So you can actually hire your peasants into your army for just about the same price as what you would pay for a mercenary. So this will be a good way to build up your initial army so that you can defend yourself without too many issues. And with all of that out of the way, I think we are ready to get into it. Okay, so after a little bit of waiting there, we had to wait for the map to actually generate. We are now at the beginning of our story, and we're going to just hit start. Now, as you can see, there are a bunch of resources here on the map now, so you'll want to kind of plan around this. I don't actually know for sure, but I think that you have to build your rye fields on these rye fields now, which is a change from the previous versions of the game. The herbs are a lot easier to see, which I do like. As you can see, there are now stone. This is basically to upgrade higher level buildings and things like that. But either way, the most important thing is to be as close as you can to the resources that you're going to need early on. And early on, we are going to want that rye and maybe even the hops. This actually puts this area as not too bad for us. This is going to be different for you because you will have a different generated map. But just try to go for about the same thing. We may even recreate this map because I don't really want to be at the southern point here. And if we go right here, then we're just kind of next to the bloodberries. We are next to this rye field, so I guess that would be fine. Yes, actually, and this is a nice clear area. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to place our hall right about here. Yes. And then the first things you're going to want to do, you're going to want to set up a manager on your hall. We will tick up all of these servants right away because we are going to want servants serving all of our lords pretty quickly. Actually, for the time being, let's set it to 0 because we want to get all of our buildings first. So we have this rye field here and this one. And that means we are very close to the food that we're going to want to produce later. And the reason for that is it will help to feed our people. We have carrots to start, but we will eventually run out of these, and we will probably build a carrot field temporarily. We'll set it down here, but later on we are going to want the rye so that we can turn it into flour for our people to eat, and they will be much happier, and that will allow us to grow our city, which is actually very important in this current build of the game, because they have changed the research, and now you have to actually achieve certain population before you can unlock further researches, which is makes it a little bit more linear. However, that is just kind of what you have to work with now. So you really want to push up your population to the level, to a high level, so that you can actually research even more deep, productions and things like that. So all that said, we're going to place that one carrot field. We also want to right away get our library placed. And actually, we want to make sure we're going to place our Lord Halls first, or houses first, just so that we know how far to place our library. We're going to do that there. Hit that on build first. And we also want to place down some regular residential houses. And as you can see, I am picking the ones that are vertical. You could pick the square, but these ones take up 16 total blocks. These ones only take up 15. You could also do the horizontal, which is about the same. That all just kind of depends on how you want to build your own city. I go with the vertical because they take up the least amount of space. And, well, I just kind of like the look of it. But yeah, you can choose whatever you want to do. I kind of built our hall in weird spots. Now this rock is kind of in our way. But I'm not really too worried about it. It can be a little bit off center. So we can just do that. That should be enough houses for the time being. That will be 8, and when we upgrade them, it will be 16, and when we upgrade them again, it will be 24 total housing slots. So that should be all fine. We can't yet build an altar, because now you actually have to research that. So we're going to go ahead and place down a builder camp somewhere. Probably right here. We'll hit that to build first. We want the library first, then the builder camp, and then we can start to build everything else with our additional builders. We'll make everything a lot faster. And finally, we want to place down a couple of wood cutting camps. Probably, oh, I can't place it here, I guess because of the stone. I actually don't know why that is. But we'll just place down 2 of them right there. And that should be pretty good for the moment. I don't think we can even build any roads yet, because that is now locked behind a research. So at this point, you have everything placed down that you really need, so it's time to just kind of wait until things get built. Okay, and the library is finished, so let's take a look right away at our knowledge. We have the altar and the rutabaga field, and those are the only books you actually get included with your city now. So we'll go ahead and start on both of them. There is something to consider when it comes to research. Because of the way that everything works, you basically want to have your best person on whatever you want to research, right? However, if we had, say, more books than we do at the moment, we would want to do possibly one of our least intelligent people on one of our least desirable knowledges. The reason for that is that then when you get more knowledges, you can put your better people onto those instead of having this guy end up being on one of those, because basically you put your highest level people on just whatever random researches you have. Not sure if that's making any sense, but basically you don't want to have a situation where you are using your best people on things that you don't actually want. So we're just going to put kind of our stupidest lord here on Rutabaga Field, and that way he's not, one of our smarter lords is not taken up on something we don't actually need, and that just stops you from ending up canceling a research later. But those are the only ones we have at the moment, so it's not really too important, but just something to kind of think about. And otherwise, we are just going to wait for this builder camp rather, to get finished building, and then we will start really building up our entire city. I think the next things we want to focus on is the woodcutter camps, so that we can get some more jobs going, and also so that we can start accruing more wood, because all the stuff that we have in progress right now is going to basically bankrupt us on the lumber. Okay, so now our builder's camp has been finished. We're going to go ahead and place Radvlad here on that to manage it. And we will now place it temporarily on priority. We need to make sure the hall starts with priority, so that is fine. So now everybody should pretty much be focused on building. It hasn't updated yet, but once it does, they should move over to the woodcutters camps. And these can't be upgraded anymore, so we just build the initial level, and they should immediately start taking down all of these forests. And then we can start to build all of our houses that we're going to need. That should bump up our mood substantially, and then we can start to actually get some good migration going. Okay, our first woodcutter camp is done, so let's go ahead and put a manager on that one. This one is at 50%. I think we're going to go for the carrot field first. You really do not want to run out of any food at any point, so that's going to be the first most important. We're not actually as concerned about the lords. Currently, a couple of them are a little bit upset. These two can probably just like spend time together or something like that, and that hopefully will make them a little bit happier. And then, so we'll set the carrot field to be built first, and then we'll set all these, and it should prioritize the ones that you tick first as far as building this first goes. So that should be all fine. Make sure we got that one. Okay. So we'll get the carrot field done first, and then all these residential housing. Now, if you got the trader on the first day, I don't know if this is a guarantee or not. It seems to mostly happen for me whenever I start a game. The first day almost always seems to have the trader. But if you don't, then just be aware, you know, you'll have to wait till the next day to actually work that out for yourself. I don't know why this is showing as snoozed. Did we snooze it? I think it's just because of the servants. We'll just put one on now so that they can start to feed everybody, which will be important. And we can also go and check on our economy, and the developers lovingly actually made it so that carrots are automatically distributed from the start, so we don't have to do anything there. So let's go ahead and check out the trader. And another woodcutter's camp has been finished, so let's go ahead and put a manager on that. And here we are at the trader. So the first day, what you really want to focus on is just getting any researches that you might need. For some reason, this research is just called building.house. I think this is the standard house, but we of course already have this. So I don't really, and it's obviously named in a funny way where you can't actually do a tooltip on it. So that's a little strange. So that might be useless, but the most important for us right now is the road construction, so that we can start to build roads. Now, for any of you who don't know, building a road makes it so that when a peasant or anybody walks over it, they will actually move 30% faster. So it's pretty important to at least have roads leading to like your workplaces, your homes, preferably the altar as well. So those are going to be pretty important. We're going to also take the warehouse, and we might want to take the workshop and sawshed, although I don't know if I want to do that right now. It used to be more important to take any book you might need, because the book might not be there the next time you come to the trader. The way it works now, it seems that the books are always there every single time. So you don't have to sit around and wait for the books to show up from the trader. So we're going to go ahead and skip this for now, but I believe we need the planks for building. I think we need it to upgrade our houses at some point. So we'll go ahead and see how that all goes. We will also go for the brewery because we are going to want to make our own beer. So we will want that at some point. Otherwise, I think the only thing that we're going to want, we might want to pick up paper, but I think we can get it for a better price later, so we're going to wait on that. Potentially tools. I think you can upgrade buildings with this, yes. But we don't probably need that right now. And we want to save as much money as we can, so we're just going to go with what we have done there. We could even potentially just sell this rutabaga field, because we are probably not going to make moonshine, but I think we'll just keep it. And that is pretty much it for the first day of trading. Okay, as you can see here, we actually lost a peasant today due to -1 on migration. That might just be because we didn't push up our mood fast enough. So you may be better off trying to focus on, first of all, having that servant might. I don't think that would help because that's on the hall and it would only affect the lords. But maybe getting the house first might be a good idea. I personally think that this is fine. Losing 1 on the first day is going to help us in the long run, because we will have the wood that we need, we'll have the carrots that we need. This is more important to me to have a long-term, you know, sustainable city. So it's up to you if you want to do that or not. But we did lose one peasant today, and that will hurt us in the short term. Now we do have the altar as well, so let's go ahead and place that. We'll probably just place it right here in front of the hall. Should be fine. We're not going to hit it on build first yet. We want to get all the houses first, and then we can place that. Now it is the middle of the night, and one thing that is causing some upsetness is the lost in a dice game. And this is because we didn't go to Dynasty and tick dice game off. This is very important because your people will pretty much just lose dice games and just be upset about it, and it's not very good. We're also going to tick off all alcohol consumption and probably the meat consumption as well, because we would want this stuff to go to our peasants first, which keeps them happier, which keeps them migrating to us, and we can manage the lord's happiness in other ways. Like, we could do a flesh wolf hunt. However, the best fighter is Silvlad, which is our king. I don't know if we really want to risk that at this stage, because they could get themselves killed. So I think we'll just do something like spend time. And it could be with anybody. We'll go with Silvlad, just because I don't want to risk Radivlad trying to have an affair with Otrada, which could happen. Okay, now given that it's the middle of the night and the day is practically over, let's go ahead and check out the global map. And as you can see, we have quite a bit of neighbors, which is going to be good for us. Now, one thing that's kind of annoying is it looks like we got a bad roll as far as trade goes. We mostly have our neighbors buying moonshine. This isn't too useful for us. We would have to grow rutabaga, which is kind of a waste, and then we would have to turn it into moonshine, and it's not really a very expensive export. However, we did get Vasna and Ugrad wanting flour and beer, so that is going to be good, and Lakria even wants beer as well, so flour as well. So that is pretty much going to be our target, is to get a bunch of flour, and we could even buy rye from Ugrad if we need to in order to make our flour production even stronger. So that is pretty much what I would go for, is to figure out what is on your trade map and try to focus on whichever one is going to have the most buyers. So we will need paper for that, but at the moment it's not too important. Now, as you can see, they already have a camp of forest bandits here in Lakria, and that seems to be the only one for the time being, which is good. But that means we are going to be having bandits in our area soon. What you can do, like I mentioned, is that you can actually hire your peasants. Look at this. 10 in combat skill, and he's only 200, versus 224 for this level 15 guy. That would be a mercenary that you would only be able to hire for 10 days. But your peasants stay forever. So we're going to hire one of these, or I guess two. Yeah, we'll hire the two strongest ones, and that will give us at least a very basic army. So we'll go ahead and place down a day patrol, and you want to put this near to anywhere that might get attacked by flesh wolves, and that is going to be the lumber camps, because they are kind of out in the wilderness. So we'll go ahead and set that. Actually, this is all pretty much fine where it is, but we'll set it to a priority, and we will put the night patrol probably right here behind the hall and increase the patrol radius. They won't actually be doing this very much, but we will set it there just in case. It will be good to have later when there is a lot of crime. So that is pretty much already it for the day. We have survived pretty well, of course. The first day is not really the one that is going to get you killed. However, the next 4 or 5 days are definitely going to be important to do things correctly. Okay, so we are officially at day 1, although we start at day 0, so actually this is day 2 now. So that is it for this episode. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, let me know down in the comments how long you would like this series to go on for, so that it actually helps you get out of any areas that you would get stuck in. And otherwise, that will be it for now. So hopefully this series is helping you. If you do like it, like I said, leave a comment. That way I know that this is the kind of content that you enjoy. And definitely do not do that if this is the content you don't enjoy, because then I'll try to make more videos of that, and that is not what anybody wants. So that is going to be it for now. And as always, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode and day 2.